It's nice to have grass pathways in between our raised bed gardens, but sometimes having the pathways and maintaining the gardens causes problems. Right here we have a problem with our fescue. This is called brown patch. It's caused by Rhizoctonia fungi, and usually brown patch occurs in areas that are poorly drained, overly irrigated, low spots, and we have all of those factors working together here to cause the fungi to proliferate. Rhizoctonia, or brown patch fungi, is in our soils all around us, but it just takes a combination of poor cultural conditions to cause it to blossom and take over our grasses. Now, this is a low spot in our garden. Also, because of the vegetable garden and the orchard, it's heavily irrigated, especially because we have blueberries right nearby. Water tends to stand here. Also, it's a pathway, so the soil is compacted. Now, all those factors, heavy irrigation, a low spot, and compaction, have contributed to the development of brown patch here in the garden. Now, there's some things we can do to help alleviate the problem. One is to try to aerate the soil. Another will be to try to level it or divert the water to another area so it doesn't stand in this place right here. Another thing is to try to keep our mower blade as sharp as possible. If grass blades are ragged on the ends, it leaves an open avenue for infection to get started on grass diseases in general. So that's another cultural practice to remember. One thing we can do, as I mentioned, is try to aerate the soil. If it's a very small place, you can take a pitchfork and push it in and work it back and forth every few inches and try to loosen this up. Now, in a large area, this isn't the least bit practical. You'd wear yourself in the pitchfork out in the process. So it'd be a good idea to go to a rental agency. A lot of them carry what we call coring or aerifying machines. It's a series of knife blades in a little machine that looks almost like a lawnmower. And you go over the lawn, those knife blades are inserted in the soil, and it will pull up a little core of soil and help let oxygen down in there and improve the aeration conditions in the soil. Something else you can do is try to control your watering practices to where you're only watering in the morning so that that site has all day to dry off and it won't contribute to disease. Don't mow the lawn when the grass is wet or when there's a dew on the grass. That will spread the disease. If you need to spray a fungicide, there are several recommended. Right here we have the Extension Agent's Handbook, and there are over a dozen fungicides recommended for control of brown patch or Rhizoctonia that will work. Some of them even have what we call curative properties. And by that we mean most fungicides are used on a preventive basis. Commercial turf sites will use fungicides to prevent brown patch and other diseases from getting started. If it's a case where brown patch has already gotten going, they'll use a curative rate, and that's almost double the preventive rate. So check your label, check whether it's for preventive or curative purposes. Now, there's a very handy guide that OSU has available. It's recently out, called Turfgrass Pest Management, and this is a guide to major turfgrass pests in Oklahoma. This is how we diagnose that we have brown patch disease in our grass, and it tells specifically how to use cultural practices to control brown patch. The chemical recommendations are not in here, however, because they change from year to year, so you'll need to refer to the County Extension Agent's Handbook for those recommendations. But if you'd like to order a Turfgrass Pest Management Guide, you can order it by writing to us here at Oklahoma Gardening. Send a check for $5 that covers postage and handling as well as the cost of the book, and just ask for the Turfgrass Pest Management Guide. If you're interested in chemical control recommendations, go by your county extension office and ask to look at the Extension Agent's Handbook for the most current recommendations. These are also available for sale in some county offices in limited quantities. The main thing to remember is when you're growing grass, think about your soil conditions. It must have good aeration, good drainage, and watch your mowing and irrigation practices.